Word Bearers, the only legion that actually won. What's up, y'all? Connor here, aka Angron's Chosen, aka the Blood God's most mightiest warrior. And today, I wanted to talk about the Word Bearers. Why? Because I had a comment on one of my videos previously about, I was doing how each Chaos Legion's most underrated, and I had a comment who gave a different opinion about the Word Bearers, because I just said, in a meta sense, they're very versatile. But this commenter went into detail about their organization and just how they've kind of maintained some sort of hierarchy and organization, even though obviously they're a Chaos Legion, and it's almost borderline, not really the expectation you would assume when you hear about Chaos Legions. And it kind of, the commenter recommended that I read the Word Bearers Omnibus, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a little demo read. I'll go on the Kindle app, we'll do a little of this, a little of that. And I got to read up to about 5 chapters, and I gotta be honest, I was kind of just blown away by my lack of just not giving things a try. I went into it not thinking it was going to be anything special, but immediately when I started reading it, I just got hooked, right? There's Marduk, Jarlek, the Dark Apostle. There's Varnus, this Imperial soldier who gets captured by Marduk, and then it seems he's almost going through a chaos conversion right now. He's a slave right now, but I feel like the book is sort of pointing to the fact that he's going to succumb to chaos as a whole. But it's just so interesting, guys. Because if you think about it in the meta sense, and I guess in the setting in general, Logar succeeded in his goal of, at first wanting to venerate the Emperor as a god, and now since he wrote the Laetitio Divinitatis, which is basically the Bible for the Emperor in 40k, everyone believes the god Emperor, but now his goal is to spread the knowledge of all gods, aka the Chaos Gods. And you could argue that really, out of all the legions, he's accomplishing his goal the most. Now, obviously, you have World Eaters who just want to kill, and they're doing that, and then the Emperor's Children who are doing their own thing. Every Chaos Legion is sort of achieving their goal. But when it comes to this long view, we're playing the long game here, Logar won, but not really. So obviously they're still spreading the word and all that, but as I'm reading the book, and as this commenter pointed out in the last video, it's so interesting because the hierarchy is there for a reason, obviously, and they all know the transcripts that Logar has written. It's tattooed on them, and then they take belief very seriously. That's the whole theme of the Legion, right? But as I'm reading this and I'm reading the Chosen, Marduk and Jarlek and all these other Word Bearers, all have the same overall agreement interpretation of Logar's words, but then there's slight differences, and there's still hatred amongst each other in the Legion, which I found so fascinating. Because again, Connor, this is so typical, you might be thinking. Chaos Legions sort of thrive on the infighting and destruction and betrayal, and you're right. But when I read this book, when I'm reading, the omnibus for the Word Bearers, it wasn't so overt, though. It was very covert in the fact that they really do respect hierarchy, but again have their own ambitions and will play to whatever helps them achieve those ambitions, i.e. Jarlek is the Dark Apostle, and this dude is basically a high priest of Logar, and he's chosen, and everyone above him and below him, respects him. This dude is a chosen of chaos. He gets chaos visions from the gods. And, you might be thinking, how does this relate to them winning but not winning? Well, they're, again, winning in the short term of spreading the word, but in the long term, again, chaos is self-defeating. They can't really win. And this self-hatred and kind of undermining is so interesting to me because it's just proving, again, chaos is self-defeating. And I obviously don't know how the book's going to end. I only read 5 chapters of the omnibus. But seeing Marduk sort of, convey his hatred and not going out of his way to really admonish and respect Jarlath as his position sort of demands is so interesting to me for a legion that's sort of the only organized Chaos Legion as of right now. It's just fascinating because we just get to see how the gods still play with them and don't really want to win. Of course they want to win the long game. Of course they do. And who else is going to preach that better than the Chaos Legion of the Undivided, Logar's, legion? The word bearers bear the word of chaos. That includes Nurgle, Khorne, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch, obviously. But they want to win the game, of course, but they don't. So chaos being self-defeating gives the legion that's the most dedicated to chaos, arguably, and just still has this infighting and differences, Cor Pharon and Erebus clashing, and Logar doing his own thing. It's just so interesting to think about. And I really want you guys to think, have they really won? In a broad sense, of course, why haven't they? They constantly are spreading the word of chaos, and even Logar achieved his past goal of people recognizing the now divinity of the Emperor, where he is sort of now a quasi-warp being at this rate. He is essentially a god, whether he wants to be or not. And we have it's fascinating. And also, another thing I want to point out is we just get to see chaos in a really broader sense. And of course, this should have occurred to me sooner, that we would get to see a really good chaos perspective from the legion that most, reveres chaos. But we just get to see, and it also reminds you, chaos doesn't just focus on singular entities, i.e., like, let's give the champions, for example, like Ahriman, Lucius, Karn, and Typhus. Of course, we're going to think that because they get a lot of screen time, but chaos is, eldritch and omnipresent, and they're constantly giving their attention to millions of people in various ways, and we get to see that with Varnus as he's with a traitor who sort of led to the word bearers taking over this world that they were going after in the book. And he's getting whispers of, either the warp, demons, chaos as a whole, not just one singular god. And they're telling him to kill this traitor, kill him. And he's slowly succumbing to it. And you get cultists who are merging with demons. And it's so fascinating. And again, but then it's still, you're not seeing them really accomplish much, because in the book, they're just killing guardsmen. And, they're really just fodder, really. And we see them achieving their goal, and they're setting up a mass ritual sacrifice to appease the gods. And Jarlath has these visions and a secret passage from Logar that was only revealed to him. And it just keeps correlating to, yes, they won, but it's a really name-only win. It's cool in the sense that, yes, they won. They definitely, but to me, it's like they won the battle and not the war, which is kind of what it keeps tying into. This legion that so greatly respects, worships, and just reveres chaos is kind of their biggest plaything in a way, if you think about it. Like, there was a passage, it was an excerpt that somebody posted, I can't remember who it was, but they said, of course the gods care about us, but that doesn't require them to be kind. And something like this is also said by Jarlath to Marduk when he says, or it was not Marduk to Jarlath, it was Marduk was talking to a word bearer Dreadnought, and the Dreadnought was essentially telling him to chill out and not let his rage consume him, because the chaos gods would in fact torture him and play with him and would love to see him basically suffer. Because again, they care about humanity and they care about the legion, they care about the word bearers, but in the sense that they need them to spread the word and to commit these rituals to empower them. But they also love to see those of the legion suffer and kind of appeal to their basic aspects of each god, like the infighting probably pleases Tzeentch, the sacrifices of blood Khorne, and the excess that they're probably going to achieve these things, even against each other. Obviously, I'm not gonna keep explaining it, but it's just interesting to me, again, because they won, but they didn't. And I mean, let me know what you guys think, because personally, they really did win, but only in the most temporary of ways. Like, they definitely have left their mark on the setting as a whole and have definitely changed the Imperium indefinitely, but they only just won against the Imperium in one way. They haven't actually done anything. It was significant, don't get me wrong, totally, but they'll never achieve anything of substantial value after that win against the Imperium and, the Laetitio Divinitaris, the Divinity of the Emperor, and of the Chaos Gods. They can't really win past that. They've actually sort of lost, which is the common theme, I would say, is common with all the Chaos Legions. They're winning, sure, but they'll never actually complete the game. But just something to think about and just something to talk about. I am so glad I gave the book a try, and I definitely might buy it after I'm done reading the oh so cool Gaunt's Ghosts, but totally cool, guys. I really wish I gave Word Bearers more of a shot instead of just, again, going off meme lore and all that stuff, but I'm super glad I read it, and just a conversation I think you guys should definitely think about. So anyway, that's it. Word Bearers are cool. They made a fan out of me, and that's it. I am out of here.